A stunning relic of the past, a house from the 6th century BCE, is discovered as Jerusalem-based archaeologists excavate the ground. Furthermore, there's a lot to see and break down with this extraordinary find, from its singed wooden shafts and split points of support to its broken tile floors. Upon their examinations of the area, notwithstanding, the group noticed a little piece of dirt with a couple of words scratched into it, a curio that could simply demonstrate the reality of the story in the Holy Book. Click that subscribe button to get notified every time we release a new discovery. You don't want to miss the latest and greatest, the History Collective content. Let's get started. Additionally, this was not the first significant find that archaeologists had made at the Givati parking lot. As the name infers, the region used to be where neighborhood inhabitants would leave their vehicles. However, it is now a busy dig site close to David, which is another location of great interest to researchers. The city of David is one of Israel's most broadly explored areas. However, archaeologists have also been finding out what lies beneath the Givati parking lot since 2003. Furthermore, almost 20 years after the fact, they actually make critical finds, including the minuscule artifact that appears to affirm a reference made in the Good Book. Selwyn, a village in East Jerusalem, has been inhabited since the 7th century, according to locals. Today, the local houses generally Palestinian inhabitants, albeit a couple dozen Jewish families live there as well. However, it also contains relics from the distant past, and given that Jerusalem's history dates back to the 4th century BC, this shouldn't come as a surprise at all. And keeping in mind that the Givati parking area may whenever have been a somewhat mediocre spot, it has proceeded to turn into a vital site for specialists nearby. Its area near the city of David specifically settles on it, a reasonable decision for any archaeological undertakings. The city of David is really an area inside the limits of Sylvan's borders, and it's one of the heavenly ground's most broadly investigated regions. This is in part due to its connection to the Hebrew Bible, which includes references to the city of David in its pages. Additionally, one particular discovery made during a dig at the site suggests that people have been living there for a considerable amount of time. Shards of pottery that appear to date back to the Chalcolithic era, which lasted from 4500 BCE to 3500 BCE, have been found in bedrock in the city of David. Additionally, relics from later times have been discovered here. For instance, in 2010, experts discovered an etched tablet that appears to date back to the 14th century BC. This makes it the first document of its kind to ever be found in Jerusalem. When they visit the archaeological park in Jerusalem, tourists can look through all of the dig sites. Nevertheless, important ancient finds have also been discovered in the Givati parking lot. First off, earth movers of the area once uncovered a gigantic store of gold coins that appear to be to trace all the way back to the Byzantine time. That was a place where locals lived at the time. Also, apparently somebody who once lived in the residence, which probably remained between the 2nd and 3rd hundreds of years, promotion abandoned a stud. The brilliant piece of gems was extravagant too, with valuable jewels and pearls. Set inside the home likewise yielded the etched resemblance of a Roman fighter, which specialists have said was used as a weight. Additionally, the discovery of the Byzantine coin cache close to this location is interesting. Most of the relics found in the Givati parking garage are from either the Roman or Byzantine periods. As a matter of fact, at last, however, designers desire to change the Givati parking garage into something totally different. The site has been proposed to house a museum and a 4-story building, with this imagined to be where City of David guests could stop, reflect, and lay prior to forging ahead to the old remnants. Nevertheless, archaeological excavations are continuing at the site at the moment. Furthermore, this is uplifting news for history specialists, as additional interesting finds have been made there. What's more, Walk 2019, a group made out of specialists from the Israel Relics Authority and Tel Aviv College, shared a little yet strong disclosure that had been taken from the area of a Babylonian period structure. The building itself was a significant find because it stood around the same time that the Babylonians raided Jerusalem and destroyed the city's first temple in 586 BCE. The experts could see that the building had been torn down to the ground, indicating that the invaders did not spare it. Yes, the building that had been in Judah's capital city had been set on fire. Seeing the dynamically hued ground surface, and specialists have had the option to discover that tiles here fell when the wooden pillars that maintained the second story copied away. Then in 2019, an archaeologist with the Israel Antiquities Authority told Israeli newspaper Haaretz that a terrible fire destroyed the entire location. This destruction explains why the Babylonian-era structure also contained pottery fragments and cracked pillars. But the most important discovery made by archaeologists was much smaller than even those fragments. Among the old consumed rubble, laborers ended up seeing a little seal that bore the name of Nathan Melech, who served the ruler of Judah in his court, and this engraving made the thing profoundly critical. Because Nathan's name is mentioned in the Bible, the seal serves as physical proof that he is mentioned in the Holy Book. What's more, accordingly, one might say that the relic goes a viable approach to demonstrating the veracity of the occasions referenced in the sacrosanct text. All the more explicitly, the Israel Artifacts Authority declared that the little impression read having a place with Nathan Melech, worker of the ruler. This title was one presented to power figures who had close connects to the Lord of Judah. Stunning tiled floors once graced the structure, but they were destroyed in the fire along with the rest of the building. Despite their rich red and purple hues, these slabs would have listened if they had survived and been polished. Archaeologists must have been able to tell that this building had received a significant investment due to its stunning features. However, while the design is previous purposes as yet unclear, its rich elements consolidated, obviously with the seals from high-positioning authorities, implied that Shelef was ready to risk a conjecture. He thinks that the building may have once housed the priest and served as a public or administrative hub. What the specialists didn't know without a doubt was that the structure had to be sure been set ablaze. Additionally, they knew when the fire started. The following stage then, at that point, was to uncover when the design had been underlying the primary spot. As a result, the archaeologists hoped to keep digging in order to discover and date the original set of floors. Even if the building didn't answer all of the questions, it gave the Jerusalem-based team a great opportunity for research. Tel Aviv University archaeologist Oded Lipschitz called the find unparalleled because it showed how wealthy people lived in the First Temple period. Lipschitz even estimated that somebody who had lived in the rich house might have assisted assembled the books of scriptures, with booking of Deuteronomy. After all, pages of the text are said to have showed up in the main sanctuary during Lord Josiah's time on the high position of Judah. The Lipids paid tribute to the structure itself, stating that it is a living testament of the Jerusalemite elite that shaped the history and character of Judaism as we know it today. All of these possibilities make future digs at the site an even more exciting prospect. The Josiah scribes walked on these floors. In the interim, thousands of miles away, scientists seem to have uncovered something comparably amazing. Another possible connection to the Bible exists. Assuming what the pair have revealed is valid, all of it has to do with the rocks of Australia and how they could prove what Christians have believed for centuries. Australia might be brimming with many marvels, yet the Pilbara area certainly stands apart among them all. This rest of the nation isn't just loaded with strange and one-off, untamed life and vegetation, but at the same time it's home to an entire host of shocking land highlights. The eye-getting rock developments in the Pilbara have even given researchers critical bits of knowledge into the start of the world. Incredibly, one of these discoveries suggests that the events described in the biblical book of Genesis have some scientific basis. In the manner we see today, this makes region of the Rough are billions of years old. Before we continue on, however, let's have a fast talk about plate tectonics. The fundamental movement of the enormous plates that move across the surface of the Earth can result in the formation of new landforms, either by pushing rock upward when the plates collide or by causing volcanic lava to flow. Nevertheless, The Pilbara predates even this extremely ancient procedure. The development of the Pilbara goes as far as possible back to the beginning of Earth. In point of fact, the planet was extremely hot at the time, reaching temperatures high enough to melt rock. It is believed that molten basalt and granite then sank and rose over millions of years, leaving a distinct mark on the landscape of the area. The area is now dotted with telltale domes made of rock that were left over from that ancient activity when seen from above. These hills some way or another endure the later structural plate developments and may do right up to the present day, and subsequently, various rocks in the Pilbara locale have been dated to more than 3 billion years of age. The theory of gravitational overturn in the Pilbara even came about as a result of research in the region, so it is understandable that these ancient rock formations have proved popular among geologists and scientists. In particular, their views have proven useful for those attempting to determine exactly when and how plate tectonics began shaping landforms. However, there are undoubtedly additional findings regarding the Pilbara. For instance, Benjamin Johnson and Boswell Wing, researchers at the University of Colorado Boulder, published a study in the Natural Geoscience Journal in March 2020 that provided a description of some of their work in the region. Also, over the span of the pair's examinations, they found a few extremely fascinating things without a doubt. More explicitly, Johnson and Wing chose to break down the substance synthesis of the old stone of the Pilbara, thoroughly searching top to bottom at the levels of the isotopes oxygen-18 and oxygen-16. There, these components can, it seems, enlighten us a ton concerning the development of expansive land. The isotopes actually become entangled in the rock during its formation, and the varying concentrations of the isotopes may provide insight into the rock's initial environment. For instance, lower levels of oxygen-18 are a sure sign that a landmass had formed. This further Wing was mentioned in a March 2020 Daily Express article as saying that when you form a soil, you form clays, and clays hoover up heavy oxygen. Since soil and clay naturally form on the ground, low levels of heavier oxygen-18 can indicate the presence of a land wing. You can tell how much soil formation was taking place from that. Bible. In addition, it is well known for relating a version of what is allegedly the beginning of the world, in which God is said to have created everything in 6 days. According to Genesis, God said, "Let the water under the sky be gathered to one place, and let dry ground appear." Some aspects of the story even appear to fit Johnson and Wing's theory. This implies that Earth was submerged in water at some point during the 6-day creation period with no visible land. Johnson and Wing's research appears to parallel this notion that the young planet contained only water. The Bible's mirroring life theory has one small drawback, but if their theories are correct, the book of Genesis may actually have some basis in fact. The book of Genesis says that God makes the oceans and land in about 3 days. For many scholars of the Bible, this occurred approximately 6,000 years ago. Obviously, the researchers concentrating on the Pilbara have dated the stones there to around 3, quite a while back, which makes for very much a difference in time spans. In any case, there are the people who don't view this distinction as anything to stress over. Without a doubt, some supposed old Earth creationists trust that there's an entirely decent clarification for this not immaterial error. It's everything to do with the interpretation of the Jewish word yom importance, in addition to other things day. That is interpreted by many interpretations of Genesis verses as a literal 24-hour period. On the other hand, some old Earth creationists used the term to refer to a time period with a specific duration, rather than necessarily a 24-hour cycle. There is precedent in Hebrew for this interpretation of yom. However, in this particular instance, members of the group have extended its definition slightly. What's more, by a little we mean such a ton further. For old Earth creationists, this indicates that God could have created the land over multiple epochs. Considering that we still don't truly know how, why, or precisely when plate tectonics made the landmasses, it's not difficult to see the reason why this clarification shows up so alluring to some. On the off chance that it's valid, the good book might well depict the real production of the planet. Nonetheless, numerous geologists are invigorated by the discoveries. The Daily Express's Wing stated that these findings are beyond the geological record. This is why ancient rocks from the Earth's past are so entertaining, and the Pilbara rocks have the potential to teach us even more. When it appeared in Sci News, Com is saying our discoveries could assist researchers with better grasp how and where single-celled life forms initially arose on the planet. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a thing.